So we're live here on Facebook. Let me just make sure that I have this open just in case anybody wants to message me with any questions on here. And we'll make sure we have that. Let's see here. And then if you're watching this on the replay, of course, always give me a hashtag replay and let me know if you have any questions or comments on this. Let me know how I can help you out, because that's why I do what I do, is to help you guys out, help you understand marketing and getting new clients and kind of how we're going to have that conversation with clients. Okay, so here we go. So just a quick recap of where we've gone in the past couple of days. We first started with goals, and we said, hey, why are you doing this challenge? What do you want in the next 30 days? And what do we hope to accomplish? Why are we doing what we're doing right here? Now, once we covered that goal section, we're going to say, hey, let's figure out this target market. Who do we want to help? How are we going to craft that message to them? And what kind of products and services are we going to put together to offer them the best services that we can, right? And that all comes down to value and target market and positioning and marketing and all that stuff kind of bundling it all together, and all works together, right? So here we go. All right, so pain versus gain. Now, when we're having our conversation, our marketing conversation with potential clients, it's really, really important to be able to know what kind of pain they're in and how you can help them. When you're having this conversation with your potential client, if you find out if they're in pain and really kind of push on that pain and make it more and more painful, they're going to be more and more apt to work with you. So let me give you an example. Let's say that you are sitting down with a tax resolution client and they haven't done their taxes in 4 years, and they just got a levy or a lien on their bank account, right? And they took out, I don't know, let's say $100, right? Just kind of like, stir the pot. And they're like, for franchise tax board or IRS or whoever, took out $100 out of the bank account. So you could say, hey, let me take care of all this for you. I'm gonna make it super easy. Just write me a check and done, right? Okay, that's one way to go. Or you can say, man, they took out $100. How much are they gonna take out next time? Do you have any idea how much they're gonna take out next time? What happens if they took out $1,000? Would you be able to pay your rent or your mortgage or feed your family? Or what kind of things are you going to lose out on if they take away that money, right? So next time, they already did it once, so they're going to take it more. They're going to take more out. So what's going to happen is you can kind of see how that conversation continues, because you're focusing on their pain. And the more you focus on that pain, the better the chance that they're going to work with you, and the better chance that they're going to say, hey, I really, really need your help. Like I understand how painful this is going to be, and I don't want to have that pain. Can you help me avoid that pain? Another great example for this is, if you go to the doctor, right? And you go to the doctor, you're like, hey, doctor, I'm in so much pain. Well, the doctor is going to write you a prescription, right? Or if you go to, that's not a great example. Maybe you have a headache and you're going to the pharmacy or CVS or Walgreens or wherever, and you're just like, I gotta go get something because I've got the worst headache. So you're in pain, so you're going to go and get something to alleviate that pain, versus taking, let's say, vitamins, where they sell vitamins right next, just a couple rows away from the from the Tylenol, or from the Advil, or from the whatever you take for a headache. But there's a pretty good chance that you're like, vitamins, maybe I'll take them. Maybe I miss this day. Maybe I'll take them. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll get to it next year. Maybe I'll get to next week. It's a New Year's resolution, whatever it might be. But there's so much more intention, and there's so much more acceleration, and it's going to happen if you have something that's painful for you. You're like, hey, I got to take care of this right away, right? Like a headache, versus something like, hey, I should probably be doing this, like vitamins. So why do I say this? Well, it's important to kind of have this message and this marketing message when you're having this conversation with your clients. So you can focus on the good stuff, and the good stuff is always great, because you don't want to, be a Debbie Downer and, constantly bring down the conversation, but you have to make sure that they understand the pain that they're in. Now, if you're focused on tax strategy, like I am, one of the things that's really important that or some of the ways you can do pain is, man, you're overpaying your taxes, right? How long have you owned your business? How long have you been making, 6 figures or more? How long have you been paying $10,000 to $20,000 to $30,000 or more every year that you've been doing your taxes? How long has that happened? Oh, 10 years, right? So if you've been overpaying your taxes 10 years at $10,000, that's $100,000, right? And what that's doing is that's creating pain for that client when you're having that conversation, right? So you're saying, oh my gosh, you've overpaid your taxes by $100,000. What would you have rather done with $100,000? Would you rather have had a lake house or a vacation house or a second home or growing your business? Or, there's so many different things that anyone would much rather do with $100,000 as opposed to overpaying their income taxes. So if you find that pain, dial in that pain and say, hey, this is painful for you. You're overpaying your taxes, and I'm going to help you with that. I'm your Advil or your Tylenol, I'm your cure for your headache, and your cure to help you because you're overpaying your taxes. I'm going to help you with that, right? So, and then what's the gain that they're going to get? Well, the gain is by saving this money, you're going to be able to do all these fun things that, hey, $100,000, would you rather have a lake house with a boat and jet skis and like all this fun stuff right there? Like, yeah, oh my gosh, I would rather have that stuff. So that's the gain that you can focus on, right? So the pain, you can say, hey, the past 10 years, you've been overpaying your taxes. And again, the past 10 years is just an example, but let's say you've overpaid your taxes by $100,000, right? So, hey, there's no way I can go back and get that money, but going forward proactively, we can, right? So as your business grows, as you're making more money, we can say, hey, the next 10 years, we're going to make sure that $100,000 stays in your bank account and you get to do whatever you want to do with it. I hope that makes sense. Cool. So that's the thing. And then you might want to say, okay, so who is this target market? We keep kind of going back through this target market. And why this target market is so important is because when we are positioning ourselves as an expert in our marketing, it's so much easier to do that when we're niche down on an industry. So you might say, hey, Jake, do I have to niche down an industry? Do I have to say this? It really, really helps. And it really helps if you can say, I am an expert in blank for blank. Right? So I'm an expert in tax strategy and savings for successful real estate professionals. Right? It just kind of rolls off the tongue. Right? It's when you say it enough, when you believe it enough, it becomes true. So what's going to happen is you want to have this focus on the target market. Now, does that mean that I only work with real estate professionals? No. I've got a client that does HVAC. I've got a client that does software. I've got a client, but they say, hey, you help me save money on taxes. You're helping them save money on taxes. Can you help me? Yes, they're just not magnetically attracted to me like my target market. And that's okay. Because as long as you have that message that you're helping someone, other people are going to resonate with that. And they're going to reach out to you and say, hey, I know you do those guys, but can you also do that? Right? This happens a lot with women-owned businesses, and women say, oh, I help other women create X, Y, Z. Right. And you're like, well, but I'm a man. Can I do that too? And you're like, yeah, of course. Right? So, but that's the marketing message that they're putting out. So the better and the streamlined, more distilled, and the more focused your marketing message is, the easier it is for us to do the marketing, which we're going to start with next week. Okay. So target market, focus on your ICA. Why is this important? We understand for the marketing, right? One of the other things that's really, really important to understand with your target market is making sure that they can afford what you want to provide, right? So if you want to have, $1 million business where you're charging people $1,000 or more a month for accounting and CFO and XYZ level services, you need to make sure that you're positioning your target market, or you're positioning yourself as an expert to the target market for that specific service. Let me give you an example. So if you go to a solo practitioner, tile setter, right? So he gets his own jobs and he does his own jobs, doesn't have any employees, and you come to a solo tile guy that's running his own business, he's a tile setter, you say, hey, it's $1,000 a month and I do accounting and CFO and tax preparation and all this stuff. It's an amazing package. You're getting great value here for $1,000 a month. And they're just like, I barely make $4,000. You're going to want to take 25% of my take home to do all this stuff. I understand that this stuff needs to be done, and I need that, and yeah, it's going to help me. But if they're not at the point where they're ready to grow their business, and they're not looking at those business analytics really to help them grow their business, but like if they're just really focused on compliance, they're not going to want to spend $1,000 a month on it. They're going to lowball you. They're going to be like, hey, can we do it for like $100 a month or $200 a month? And you're like, well, that's not really the focus I want to help my business on, right? So that's really important when you're having this conversation with potential clients. And when you're sending out the marketing message to your ideal client, you want to make sure that that client is going to purchase the amount of value that you want to provide to them, right? So you have to decide, are you comfortable with $100 a month, right? There's going to be some people that are just happy with $100 a month. Then there's going to be some people that are comfortable with $1,000 a month. Ooh. Does that mean there's going to be people comfortable with $10,000 a month? That's right, there are, right? So who you are focusing on really depends on how much money you want to make, how much value you can create, and who you're going to position to. So let's do a quick recap of these guys and see what that makes sense, right? So who would pay $100 a month, and what would you give them, right? So think about it really quick. Who is your target market, or who could be your target market? Who would you like to be your target market? And if they were paying you $100 a month, what kind of services would you do for them? What could you do? What would you do? What would you want to do? Is this enough for you? Right? These are all questions you have to ask yourself. And when you're first getting started, you're like, oh my gosh, like that's amazing. Someone will pay me $100 a month. But when you're more established, and there's some members inside the tax savings team which are like, $100 a month, I'm not even going to touch that, right? They're at the $10,000 a month level. So they're like, hey, I see all the value that I'm creating. I know that I have the confidence in myself and the confidence that I can share with my clients how I can create $10,000 a month in value. Like there's no way that I would even take a client at $100 a month. So that's the really important thing, is knowing where you are in your confidence level and how much value you can create for your client, because that is the thing that's going to create value, and value equals profits, right? So the more value you can create, the more profits you're going to have inside your company. So let's do a quick recap of these guys, or a quick look at these guys and figure out where we are with these, right? So what would you do for $100 a month? What could you do for $100 a month? Could you do maybe like, I don't know, bank feeds where they've got QuickBooks Online or Xero or something like that, and it's categorizing for it? Maybe you do a review of it on a quarterly basis or a semi-annual basis or an annual basis. Sure, I can do that, right? Could you do their personal tax return for that? Sure, right? So months times 12, that gives us what? $1,200 for the year, right? So $1,200 for the year. Yeah, you could probably do, I'd probably review their bookkeeping, maybe help them with their bookkeeping, maybe do a tax strategy consult, maybe once, help them with a little bit of tax planning, and then do their personal tax return. Is that worth $1,200? Sure, that sounds good. Now, how about let's maybe there's somewhere in the middle, right? Maybe somewhere in the middle, $500, right? So what would you do for $500 a month? Well, maybe this is someone like a general contractor or a tile setter or a plumber. Maybe they've got 2, 3, 4, 5 employees, and they say, hey, I don't have the time to do my books anymore because I'm growing my business. I need someone to kind of spend more time inside the business or review it on a weekly basis so I have this information. And she's okay, for $500 a month times 12, whatever that comes out to, that is how much of $6,000 for the year, right? So I'm going to pay $6,000 for the year for what? Well, I need tax preparation. Maybe some tax strategy would be great. Maybe some review of the financial statements, maybe some help with the bookkeeping throughout the months. Yeah, that sounds pretty good, right? So then you have to look at, are you in the place to create that value? Do you have the confidence in yourself to create that $500 a month value? Yes, right? Do you have, and then are you focusing on the clients that need that? Maybe, right? So like a single tile setter, a single solo practitioner, a real estate agent, right? Maybe they're looking at $100 a month. Yeah, maybe that's all they can go to. But someone that's growing out their business, maybe they're looking at spending $500 a month. They're more confident and comfortable spending $500 on a month on that services because they see the value. They see how you're helping them grow their business, right? Now let's work up to $1,000 a month. Oh my gosh, what would someone pay you $1,000 a month to do? Again, bookkeeping, accounting, CFO services. Maybe you're doing outsourced CFO services. Maybe you say, hey, for every month or every quarter, we're going to jump on a phone call or a Zoom call. I'm going to go through your financials with you. So not only am I going to do doing your bookkeeping, your accounting, but I'm going to go through your financials. Or depending on the size of the company, you might say, well, hey, you've already got an in-house bookkeeper or in-house accountant. I'm your outsourced CFO. So I'm going to do your taxes and tax strategy, maybe some tax planning with you. But then also once a quarter, once a something, we're going to jump on a Zoom call. We're going to review your financials and screen share, right? Or I'm going to do a recorded video for you, and then you can watch it if you have any questions, right? So things like that, that's something that would be worth $1,000 a month. For what size company, you might ask? Well, probably more than likely that company is doing over maybe $1, $2, or $3 million a year, right? $1, $2, $3 million a year, then they'd be in that position. But yeah, I can spend $1,000 a month on my bookkeeping, accounting, CFO. I want to invest in this person because this person is going to help me grow. You're going to help them grow their business. I hope that makes sense, right? So then you can kind of figure out, you can kind of extrapolate and say, okay, well, if that's 1,000, what would $10,000 a month be? What would a $10,000 a month program look like? You could say, well, hey, maybe it's this huge tax strategies. Maybe it's someone that owns a diverse real estate portfolio and they're paying me $10,000 a month because I'm constantly looking and advising them on things like 453 transactions or 1031 transactions or investing in this property, different things like that. So you can kind of see, hey, based on the knowledge that I have on real estate, right? So then real estate investors, the value that I provide to real estate investors at a certain level would be worth $10,000 a month on retainer, right? Or a really, really quickly growing construction company, right? We've got all these questions about construction companies and, how we're growing and what should we invest in and what's our return on assets, what's our, labor costs, what's our these things, right? And we need cost segregation studies. We need percentage of completion stuff like that, right? That's kind of what's going to happen between these two marks right here. So you can see it's so critical important that you understand that target market and who you're going to be serving and the value that you're going to create for them and the services you're going to provide so that we can narrow down not only the target marketing for the messaging, but also the products and services that you're going to put together. Cool. So I hope that makes sense. Cool. So we're right at about 20 minutes here. So I'm going to go ahead and close out this portion of the video. And if anyone is live and you want to jump on with me one-on-one, we can go ahead and work through your target market or your products or your services, your pain or your gain. I'm going to put the Zoom link in here really quick. I think this is here. Nope. All right. So I'm going to put the Zoom link in here. And anyone that wants to jump on live with me is more than happy to, or more than welcome. I'm more than happy to welcome you onto the call. Let's see here. Make sure I have that. Invite. All right. So in Facebook, I'm going to go ahead and put this here. All right. So I just put the Zoom link in the chat. So anyone that wants to jump on with me, I'm going to hang out here for about 2 minutes. And you're more than welcome to jump on with me. And I'll walk you through anything that you have a question about. Maybe if you have a question about target market or pain or gain or positioning in your marketing messages or your services or the package of what you're going to put together, that is everything we're going to be covering today. Okay. All right. Doesn't look like anyone wants to jump on. So I will see you guys on the next video. Thanks.